Cristian Romero was very fortunate not to be punished for two incidents late on in Tottenham's draw against Chelsea. Harry Kane headed in at the death in controversial fashion to snatch a point in an epic 2-2 stalemate, after Chelsea had led the game twice. Tensions boiled over in a heated London derby, particularly between the two dugouts, as the game was contested at a fiercely physical level, resulting in some contentious decisions from referee Anthony Taylor. Chelsea took the lead in the feisty affair after 19 minutes when an unmarked Kalidou Koulibaly volleyed home tremendously from a corner on his home debut. Tottenham struggled to get a hold of the game throughout the first half as Thomas Tuchel's side dominated, but came back into the contest after the break and got level after 68 minutes, under controversial circumstances. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg pulled Spurs back into the game with a fine, low strike, which was allowed to stand despite a clear foul from Rodrigo Bentancur on Kai Havertz in the build-up to the equaliser. The hosts regained the lead with just 13 minutes to play, dispossessing Tottenham high up and feeding the ball through to Reece James to score, sending Tuchel running down the touchline in celebration after an earlier spat with Antonio Conte. Their lead didn't last, though, as injury time saw Tottenham earn a corner which Kane managed to score from, again in controversial fashion. Replays showed that Romero clearly dragged Chelsea defender Marc Cucurella to the floor by his hair while waiting for the corner which Kane headed in the equaliser from, meaning it most definitely shouldn't have stood and instead should have resulted in a red card for Romero. The goal did stand, though, and Romero wasn't sent off as Spurs clinched a draw. It was a contest that had absolutely everything, from touchline scraps between managers, to hefty challenges and late drama. In and amongst all the chaos both during and after the game, another moment of Barkley's brilliance went under the radar. After Kane's header flew into the back of the net off the boot of Reece James, who tried to block the effort, Romero ran over to James and screamed in his face, presumably out of celebration. It's pretty crazy footage. Romero really is unhinged, isn't he? The Argentine has quickly become a fan favorite at Spurs for his aggressive style, obviously exceptional defensive abilities and his no-nonsense approach to games, but it was his chaotic personality on show on Sunday afternoon. In a game that had already been turned on its head due to several heated incidents, Romero screaming in James' face just moments after an equalizer that shouldn't have stood is absolutely insane. Fair play to the Englishman for not completely losing his cool. While many would call Romero's actions uncalled for, especially considering he was fortunate to still be on the pitch in the eyes of many, you have to appreciate that Conte has turned Spurs into a team beaming with passion, and his screaming celebration likely reflected that. To snatch a point at the death in a ground where they have struggled to win, and on a day where they didn't play well, would have absolutely felt like a win for Tottenham. However, he was very fortunate not to have been disciplined for his actions, with officials not picking up on the hair pull or the scream. Romero should definitely tone it down in future, in order to avoid getting caught in the act with his mischievous exploits. Both sides will now be without their managers in the dugouts next weekend, with both Tuchel and Conte receiving a red card after the full-time whistle after more tensions came to the boil following an awkward handshake. Chelsea visit Leeds on Sunday in the Premier League, while Tottenham host Wolves on Saturday in the early kickoff. Spurs can perhaps count themselves lucky that Romero hasn't also been suspended for the affair with his manager, for his antics in the penalty box at the end of the game.